and welcome to Leashed Dad's podcast. That's Justin.
That's Jared. Mm-hmm.
We are two leashed dads that get together to discuss our everyday lives while chained to our parental responsibilities. And I apologize, yes, last week, folks, but I was out sick and I still have a sore throat and my sinuses are kicking my ass. So no fast recovery for this guy, but
Unfortunate.
so I do apologize.
Yeah, hopefully you're doing a little better. I know you said you still have a sore throat, but probably better than what you were last week, right?
Yeah, it was. I find, and tell me if I'm wrong, folks, but as you get older, like just the common cold turn into like the nastiest of sinus infections and like headaches and sore throat, and it gets more intense as you get older. I'm finding, and
I'm
lasts
starting to
longer
believe
too,
there's
no
something
matter what I do.
I'm starting to believe there's something a little different as well with that, though, as to why. Because I remember being a child getting sick very infrequently, or very, not so often, right? Uh,
Right.
but as we get older, our immune systems start going a little bit. But at the same time, I think there's one other factor that we forget that the children are always doing. Running around being crazy, exercising, things like that, right? Where we as adults are staying inside more often, uh, not going outside to do all these wondrous activities, things of that nature. So I think that plays a factor too.
Well,
But
and not
the
only that,
healthy
but
activities or,
yeah,
exercising, things like that, keeping our metabolism up.
right. And children in their nature are not cleanly creatures. They wash their hands about 20% of the time when they really should.
Mm-hmm.
So, when they're at school, God only knows what they're picking up and bringing home. So, I should just start carrying a bottle of hand sanitizer around the house. But
Yeah.
another theory before we get into sick kids is is this crazy weather we've been having in the Midwest. It's cold, it's hotter than hell, it's cold again,
Mm-hmm.
it's moist, it's all over the damn place lately.
Yeah. No, it's not. I wouldn't say it's a theory. I think it's a reality. Uh,
Yeah.
as temperatures fluctuate and you don't necessarily get enough time to adapt to the change, it just hits you,
Yeah.
and then and then it really hits you. As Jared is an example, I'm sure your family is an example of it too. Right now, my children are an example. Hence, why this is kind of one of those days I wanted to talk about it. But um, no, I don't think it's a theory. I think it's something that's kind of out there. It, like I said, it's a reality. This October has been, or like this past month, October has been kind of crazy for really good, pleasureful, warm days. And then at the end of it, it was shit. Rain, rain,
Yep.
rain, 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 or whatever. And it's like, I want the old October back. I want the beginning of
Me
October back.
too. Yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of memes going around of the episode The Lemon Tree of The Simpsons where Abe Simpson, the dad, is explaining, how things used to be back in the day when he was a kid. And there's a meme going on. October used to be cold. It's funny, but it's sad and true because it used to
Mm-hmm.
be cold.
Yeah. I mean, it's still, last year in October, we did actually have some snow.
Yeah, we had snow on Halloween. We had that big snowstorm in Sheboygan
Yeah.
on Halloween.
And we had a snowstorm not on Halloween, but we still had snow and it sucked because it was miserable.
Yeah,
But this year it was just windy. That's it. A little cold,
very
but
windy.
windy.
Yep.
So that's, just crazy. Yes, it was nice that it was windy and not snowy, but it was still miserable. I would have preferred a nice warm Halloween for once, like we probably used to have.
I never remember it being warm.
I don't necessarily remember having to always put like a coat on though when I go trick or
Yeah,
treating.
I remember it being just mild, like
Yeah. Well, that's what I
fifties.
mean. I don't
Yeah,
mean like, oh, we're putting our winter coats on to go outside and to trick or treat. We're just having to put on like thicker clothing. Some There was times where I was able to put on just like my costume or whatever and be fine.
right.
This time I had to put a sweatshirt on. No big deal. But I'm happier with that honestly than I am with having to wear my coat over my costume or my coat and then my costume on top of it and looking all like ugly in a sense. Because I think some costumes that people wear when you try to put it over your winter coat or whatever doesn't look good, right? You're all poofy,
Right.
so it makes it look really bulky and just doesn't look very good. Or where you are wearing your costume underneath your winter jacket, and it's like, well, what are you? Well, I'm fucking dressed up for the weather, duh. But yeah,
I'm a person trying not to get sick.
yeah, exactly. So no, I think the last thing I want to talk about here on Halloween was I a lot of people probably had to work, right?
Yeah,
So
mainly worked.
my my work, we people were kind of dressing up for it a little bit. I mean, there were definitely people that did dress up for it at work, but some of us like, well, can't really dress up because we just wear a lab coat over ourselves, over our costumes, so it's not like really showing, and our patients wouldn't see it or anything like that. I ended up, I just went in my scrubs, right? I came
Yeah,
in and I'm like, hey guys, I'm a nurse.
nice.
My supervisor didn't like it. She's like, no, this is what you wear every day. It's not going to fly. I was like, fine, I'm a nurse. I'm still a nurse. But no, other people did end up dressing up, which was kind of cool. One of them ended up putting on like makeup and calling herself a mad scientist or whatnot. Another one was wearing um, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle shirt, so she was dressed up like a turtle. She had the Raphael shirt and the Raphael mask. It was kind of cool. And then somebody else just put some other makeup on, and yeah, it was interesting. We had somebody dress up as a penguin. I can't remember the penguin's name, but it's from like Surf's Up or something like that. Um, I could be wrong, completely wrong about the movie or whatnot. Um, but they also had a costume contest as well. So it was interesting. But yeah, that's all I wanted to say about Halloween. As we're past it now, and we're moved on to November, where it's starting to get colder, and fuck, it's dark outside. By the time I
Yeah,
go to
we
work
got to
and
be
the
coming
time I
up
come
on a
home,
milestone here, right?
I think we already hit our milestone.
Oh,
I think we hit our 2 year like last week, if I
okay.
recall. But yeah, I'd have to go back and look at the episodes and find out when our first episode actually aired. But guys, I think if we did hit our 2 mark, yay, we hit our 2 mark. We'll have to maybe have a special episode for that, but not tonight. So, um, what about it, Jared? Talking sick, talking sick. You're sick. Your children were sick. Natalie was sick. Everybody's just getting sick. Uh, what has it been like in your house? What have you guys done since being sick?
Well, and I think I've brought this up a couple times before, but um, it just seems like when one falls, we all fall kind of thing. And it
Yeah.
was a small pattern. Like I should have caught it. It was the calm before the storm because the kids were already sniffling and coughing 2 weeks ago, but then stopped.
Hmm.
And then when they stopped, I began to feel sick. And this is the day of that really warm, like 75-degree day. And I had the windows open driving back from work. And as soon as I got into Sheboygan and the temperature dropped, my throat just, it hurt like hell. And then, sure enough, it just slowly disintegrated into my, my nasals just going crazy. And then I couldn't hear out of my right ear. I still can't really hear out of my right ear. And it's been like 2.5 weeks. And so over the weekend, Natalie finally got it after, I think, Wednesday or something, because Halloween was on Thursday and she did have to work, but she ended up calling out because of just how bad she felt. And the kids were all whiny, and they were coughing up a storm and everything else. So it really went full force last week, starting with the Wednesday night, and then onward to the weekend, where the weekend we didn't do anything just because, you can see people in the store looking at Natalie and I weird because we could not breathe at all out of our nose.
Oh, no.
And we were talking like this. Hey, can you look at those noodles? The pasta sauce with the red on it. Is it people were just staring at us?
Oh,
how
man.
stupid we sounded. And then,
that's good.
Yeah, that was right there.
Freaking hilarious.
It's like, I promise you it's not COVID. The kids had a fever for maybe 2 hours one of the nights. And then, Natalie and I had the same thing where we had one night of being hot, and then it was just complete sinus pressure. And now, obviously, it's gone down into the throat. So, but no, it's definitely something they either picked up at school and I was just not being careful enough with the windows open kind of thing and exposing myself to that cooler, fresh air or something. Because it's weird. And people, if you're science and you know this stuff, please let me know. Is there something that has to do with fresh, moist, cooler air and you like singing or breathing something, or like overexerting yourself in it? Is there something that just like triggers your immune system to shut down? I don't know, because every time I've had an opportunity to enjoy a relatively cooler weather with the windows open, and I'm singing in my car as one does sometimes, and it doesn't go well. It doesn't end up well at all. Let me know. I'm too lazy to Google it, so.
Yeah, and sometimes Google doesn't always provide the best answers either.
No, it doesn't, especially lately. It's pissing me off.
Yeah, we're not going to talk about lately.
No, no. We're not going to talk about anything regarding technology or politics. So anyway, I really think that there would be a way for the kids to not bring home that stuff. And it would require them to completely change their routines.
Bubbles.
And they're not going to do that. Like, I'm talking hand washing at every opportunity, not putting things in and around their mouth.
Oh, yeah. And that's always a hard thing.
Sneezing like a vampire, not in your hand. Yeah.
No, my kids are.
That's what they were doing too. They were sneezing in their hands or not even covering their mouth at all, especially when they cough. It's like, and Natalie, we get frustrated. Cover your damn mouth, God.
You're not swearing at them for that, are you?
Yes, cover your damn mouth because they don't listen.
Okay. I was just curious because that was one thing I wanted to talk about. How, like, I get it's frustrating when kids cough and they're not covering up, right? But I know, is there a point in time where you're just reminding them and then all of a sudden you're like scolding them for not doing it, right?
Yeah. Please cover your mouth when you cough. Please, do this. And then on day 5 of them not doing it, that's when we start to get angry.
Yeah. Start getting irritable. So that's kind of what I wanted to focus on is as children get sick, how lenient are you as a parent for their sickness, or how much do you like? Are you more lenient? Are you staying on them a little bit more, trying to help them get healthy, um, or are you just like you don't change? And by that I mean you're still going to parent the way you parent. You don't care if they're sick. You want them to do what they're supposed to be doing no matter what. Like, for example, uh, I recently had a child stay home from school because he wasn't feeling good. So he didn't, like, apparently, I don't even think he went to school. But he was home at 8 o'clock in the morning and resting, supposedly. I'm like, well, nope, you're not playing video games because you didn't go to school. You were homesick. I try to stay firm to that. It's like you should be resting if you're sick. If you're not feeling good, you should be resting in that sense.
I'm with you on
Try
that.
try to get better. But
Right.
let's for example, right? If your child doesn't go to school, are you going to let them play? Are you going to let them go outside and play with friends because they want to go play?
No.
No.
No,
Agreed.
especially if they're sick. No, they're staying on the couch in their bed in their room. They're not doing anything
No.
unless we have to go to the store.
Okay.
Which
Do you provide any leniency for them though? Like if they are sick and then all of a sudden they're doing something that's not necessarily normal for them. Like, I guess this is hard. Are you lenient if they don't clean up their toys if they are playing with them by themselves? Let's say, for example, they're playing Barbies or with their
well,
houses or
yeah. I
whatever,
mean,
and they go
I,
pass out on the couch or their bed, or they just don't clean up after themselves for that point, just because they're sick.
it depends on the level of sickness. I think it has more to do with if you can't keep any liquid or solids down and you're in pain. I'm not gonna have you do rigorous cleaning, even if it's you got your toys on the floor. If you're just having a sinus issue and you're coughing because of your sinus issue,
Mm-hmm.
you can do a little bit more than what you could if you had the flu, kind of thing. So I'm not gonna coddle the child for having a sinus issue. I would coddle for fever and flu like symptoms. If that makes sense. It just
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
So, like
Yeah.
you said, it depends on the severity of their illness.
Yeah.
If it's a simple cough or stuffy nose, no, you're cleaning up your mess, just whatever. But if they are uh, feverish or they really look fatigued and everything, uh, vomiting, things of that nature, basically
Yeah.
showing some sort of lethargy in their life, or not really showing any signs of life, you'll let them kind of slide if they play for a little bit and then all of a sudden they're like done. Not gonna expect them to clean up. That's fair. That's a fair assessment. I think I would do the same thing. It's like I get it. You're not feeling good. You've showed some energy, but now you don't have enough energy to do it again, which is fine. I would rather have you rest anyways at that point. Get healthy again. So um I just that's what I wanted to talk about it because I want to get an idea and have parents understand that you can't just keep pushing children, especially when you know they're sick. I'm not saying parents will do it, but I want to be as a reminder to parents that it's okay to let your children be sick, let them get healthy. Also, if they have some energy, let them burn that energy off so they can continue to rest.
Right.
Just make sure, just as long as they also don't overdo it, though, right? Let them spend their energy, but don't over or exert themselves to the brink of not not being able to do it. And we've been there, we've done it. Heck, even as an adult, sometimes I'm sick and I feel like I overexert myself, and then I'm out for whatever. So, any other things you want to talk about, Jared, for sick children or just being sick in general? I know we're here in Wisconsin or in the Midwest, we are quickly approaching uh, that time of year where kids and family are going to get sick because young children don't necessarily know the proper ways to prevent spread of infection or infectious diseases or viruses. But we got to remember to teach them or remind them. Like, I know you said your kids cough and sometimes they forget to cover their mouths or whatnot, and then you have to remind them. I still have to do the same thing with my children. I don't think it'll ever change, except for when they're adults or teenagers. But do you have anything else you want to say or chime or put in?
If your child is showing obvious signs of a heavy cough, fever, vomiting, don't send them to school. Find a way to make it work where they can stay home. And the same token, use your best discretion before taking them to the doctor. Do some research. When is it a good time to take a child to the doctor?
Fair enough. Excellent.
I would say a very high fever for an extended period amount of time, not keeping anything down. Then you do that. But like if they're having the sniffles, don't.
Yeah. Monitor your child's health. I know Sam had taken our 2-year-old in. I say 2-year-old, but she's still only like, almost 2. She'll be 2 in December here. But she had taken her into the ER because she was not able to keep fluids down. And it was
That's
like
a situation where, yeah.
In a 12-hour period, whatever she drank, she'd throw up right away. So she wasn't having any good pee diapers at all either. So that was like, take her to the ER, get fluids in her. And sure enough, after getting the fluids in her and everything, she had more energy. She looked more lively again. So again, just be mindful. If it's a small cough, don't take your child in. There's probably no need. Let them get through it. It's just a small cough. If that cough persists for months on end, or I would say like a month, I would probably take them in, because there's no way the cough should be lasting that long. Your child should have gotten over it at some point. Just reminds me of a college mate that we had that had a cough before we went on winter break, and then came back and he still had the cough. And he had, I think, bronchitis or something like that. So, yeah. But that's all I wanted to say, folks. Leashed Dads here. We're a parenting podcast, or out for all parents, not just dads. We want to make sure everybody that knows what they're doing. We're building that community of providing tips, tricks, insight, reminders, friendly reminders for those parents, new or old, or repeating. And it's okay to make mistakes as parents. We learn from those and we continue to grow. So enjoy. Hopefully you enjoy our Day of Sick Children. I mean, not really enjoy it, but learn from it. Or if you already know stuff. And again, chime in to Jared's question or this thing about opening the windows on your way home from work. Does it fuck your immune system up with the cool air or anything like that? Sometimes I think it's good for you, but other times I think you might overdo it. So maybe it's the pathogens in the air, the virus in the air. Who knows? But let us know if you're if you have any biology or science background and have that insight. Hit us up at leashdads14@gmail.com. Comment on our YouTube, Spotify, TikTok, whatever. let us know. We'll be here. We'll see you next time with the Leashed Dads. Good night.